used to it, and now we have like glass building next door to
it's pretty hardcore. So not only did he run Amiwest and create Amiwest, but he also traveled to the other shows as well.
Echo.
I know. The game turns off, and then it squelches a little bit. Well, I don't want to do that. I'm going to kill overhead. Can you turn the volume down? Function, and then left arrow. Little box at the bottom says volume. So we'll just have to shout. I tried. I've literally never been here before, and we didn't put in all of our stuff and set up our audio here.
Let's give Bill an A for effort. Let's also give Bill an E for echo.
But these are filming and streaming out. So we'll continue to use microphones. We tell our stories. This won't come out of the household.
Can't hear you. Turn up the volume.
This is a hostile audience.
So John is a critical part of Amiwest, even though he's no longer with us. It's still important that we remember those who got us to this point and help create the show and build the show into where it is today. I mean, obviously, the Amiga computer itself is where it is today, but the fact that we take the time out of our busy lives, away from our families, come to Sacramento to gather, to celebrate, to share ideas is still pretty spectacular. This year's winner of the John Zacharias Award is a newer member to the Sacramento crew. He is someone who has drank all the Kool-Aid, which is fantastic. He's presented now, I think twice, maybe not 3 times, twice now, at the Amiwest Show. And has become a real feature, not only locally but also online. Gino, is he still here? Are you serious right now? Oh, yeah. Yes, No, Gino, really appreciate all you've done with your YouTube broadcast, the energy you put into helping out the show. You have a lot of hobbies. You can spend your time in a lot of places, but it's definitely not lost on us that you care so much about the Amiga. And Amiwest, of course.
I love you guys.
The Dan Klosko Award. Dan was a phenomenal guy, super low-key. Ran the Abyss for the Sacramento Amiga Club for a number of years. I actually never went there. Apparently it was a house. It had like bathrooms, but there's like holes in the floor. But it was also completely filled with Amiga stuff, like completely filled. As people have shedded their collections, he would gather them and lovingly care for it. When he would bring game boxes to the show, it's because the game had the manual and the discs, and it was all tested, and he would put it out for sale. Like, it wasn't just some random stuff you throw. Like, he had a lot of care. He would tell stories about resurrecting floppy drives. Like, you cannot kill these things. You just need to clean them, and they will come back to life. He was an amazing guy. At the Amiga 30th, his heart and soul was absolutely poured into that show. He did so much behind the scenes. So much. If you ever see the photo of the end where we're all on stage, Dan is lying across the front, the biggest smile you could ever have. So that is an award that goes to people who aren't necessarily in the Sacramento Amiga Club consistently, but contribute with technical knowledge. So this year's recipient of the Dan Klosko Award is Alex Perez, who's awesome. He has absolute records. Put it on the website for one thing. No, Alex has been fantastic. He's got us SCSI products, pushing him in all sorts of different
Make
boundaries,
this video
Wi-Fi capabilities. You know, you can bring Wi-Fi DOS machines, Mac machines, Amigas even, through the SCSI port. And I remember, I don't know, years and years ago having a Mac Duo 230 and I had the Ethernet on the SCSI bus. I'm like, why doesn't Amiga have this stuff? Well, we actually have it now, thanks to Alex's products as a wireless driver. So if you have a SCSI-enabled system and you want to get it online, go see Alex and he'll hook you up to the part. And more to come, and much more to come. So the final award that we're going to give tonight is also virtual, so we're all going to imagine this. It will become instantiated in the physical realm at some point. But I wanted to recognize Jerry. He had no idea I'm doing this.
Oh, got you back.
And we're going to give Jerry one of the amazing Amiga awards from the Amis that we did at the 40th.
Oh, yay!
I forgot to bring it. With the lineup of Amiga machines, I'm like, Jerry, you just got to do it, and you just did it. It was great. But obviously, planning Amiwest, thinking about coming here, getting this all put together, and obviously without his help, but really the driving force behind all of this. So we really appreciate it. Amiwest would not have happened if you hadn't done that. And we keep it going. And as a community, we keep it going, and we help each other when we need to. We share in each other's laughter and joy, and that's why we're here at this point. Like the technology is great, you know, we can keep things going. But the purpose of the show is really to connect with people. So the next part, the banquet official, is telling stories. And I know a lot of people don't like to stand up and speak.
Hey, wait, Bill.
Yes.
Wait. This isn't really the banquet just for that.
What?
You also have to remember, it's also Bill's birthday.
Oh, God.
We can do everybody here.
No. We don't
Yes.
sign that, dude. We don't sign.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Bill. Happy birthday to you.
Getting older, but going to Amiwest, and now it's going to be that way.
Welcome. But the Grecian Formula 16 looks great.
In order to help incentivize people to speak, we had some leftover shirts from the Amiga 40th show.
Yeah.
So if you're brave enough to tell your story, we can share with you one of our Amiga 40 shirts. Right before I get started, I do want to ask one question. And looking at the audience, I don't know, it's not going to be a high number, but is there anybody here who this is their, we'll start here. First Amiwest. I know there's a couple. Ron, you got a first one? Okay, we got a bunch of first people. Thank you so much for coming. How many people are here because of the 040th in BCN West? Anyone? No, you don't count. Thank you for coming.
Well, that's the first
Hey,
one.
when you start your first one.
Wait, does it count for that one? So thank you for coming. We really appreciate it. You know, it's about, like I said, it's about the community, the friends that you make along the way, and of course the friends that we've lost, unfortunately. So the idea is we'd like to share stories. Stories about your experience with the Amiga platform. Let me restate that. Please keep it within the Amiga platform. If you have other stories, that's later back at the hotel when we're drinking. So I've told this story to a number of people a number of times. My wife's probably heard it too many times. One of the benefits of getting old is you get to say something again like it's the first time, and it feels great. So my first experience with the Amiga computer was my birthday many years ago, and I think I was 12 or 11 at the time.
Happy birthday, Bill.
What's that?
Say happy birthday again to you.
Thank you.
Oh, is it time to sing? Do we sing?
We did that.
We can do it again.
We Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you.
was sitting at the dining room table. There was a couple people there. My brother was there. And for my birthday, my brother had given me his Amiga 500, the lore behind that machine, which I no longer have. It was one of the original 5 that was sent to the FCC. And one of the things the FCC does when they do their testing is they kind of take things apart. So he bought it as like all the custom chips were out. So he got it at a discount. But he set it up in my room, and he had the 1084 monitor connected to it, and he fired up D-Paint, and he wrote happy birthday, and he put some dots around the outside, and he fired up the color cycle animation. And my previous computer was a TRS-80, no color, right? So seeing that was just like mind blown. Like, this is the future of everything. And obviously, I can say with quite assurance that I've been hooked ever since. Because I come to Amiwest every year, and I put on giant shows when I can. But that's kind of my story. Like, that was my introduction. My brother gave me a machine. He moved on to 2000. But that, as a kid, like getting that 500 and then begging for the hard drive at Christmas and running the floppies, like, and getting a floppy drive because all the floppy swapping got me engaged on this machine and seeing the poetry of how it operated. So that's me. That's why I'm here. Who wants to go first? Who's got a story that they want to share about their engagement with the Amiga, application that you liked? Alex Perez, but please do take the microphone because we are broadcasting. No, that's the locker mic.
Your mic.
This one's the locker here. You can hand that
There's
right.
other kind of people listening to this microphone.
I love getting on the stage if you have to. That's not how I'm going to. Please.
So,
Grab the whole computer, rock!
I didn't own my first Amiga until well after it was dead and gone. Would have been about 2005. I bought, as a 20-something-year-old guy, I bought an SCOM dual stock Amiga 1200. And I was always kind of like curious about it, but I was, I was not old enough to have used an Amiga when they were contemporary. I grew up in a PC and Mac world, where Macs were an education, PCs were what I had at home, and it was not like a financial decision made, for them to expect to be done. So my first Amiga was kind of a weird experience because I was using Windows XP, right? and I got this 1200, and it was not expanded at all. And I was like, this seems kind of cramped. Silence. But mind you, this is 2005, right? And by 2005, it was kind of cramped. But I actually liked everything else about it. I didn't, I was still learning about the architecture, and in my hometown in Santa Rosa, there was a nascent Amiga users group that hadn't quite completely expanded yet, and so I looked around and I was like, well, what else? What other communities are there within driving distance, right? And that was part of why I randomly showed up at an Amiwest one. I don't remember quite what year it was, but it was something around the era of 2006, 2007, something around there. And at that first meeting, we were still at the old, super crappy hotel, which anyone who's ever been there knows exactly what I'm talking about. Like, it was bad, right? It was I remember, I think the last year we were there, the room I got had mold all over the windowsill. It was like, it was one of those, if we have to come back here next year, I'm not going to bother with kind of calls. And I met Bill at that event in whatever year it was, in the mid to late 2000s. And I ended up working with Bill at 2 different startups over a course of many, many years. And I consider him one of my closest friends, even though we don't necessarily talk every day. But the personal relationships I got out of randomly showing up to an Amiwest event decades ago, I consider that invaluable. And so I think that as someone that was young enough to have missed the original Amiga era, but old enough to have been curious about this weird machine that was already dead when I bought one, right? I have a love for it in a way that is a bit perverse. But then again, I have a love for weird architectures and machines that died before their time, and I feel like that the Amiga absolutely fits into that category. And I just enjoy coming every year. I enjoy being with this adoptive family of people, the random guys and gals that have come here over the years, and I'm just glad that I randomly showed up at this thing that I didn't really know much about. It was within a couple hours drive from me.
Who's next? You can go on the stage or not. You can just stand up if you want to stand up. Evangelos. You got a shout.
Okay. My brother complains I'm too loud, so I have to start low.
Not today.
Alright, so the era is around 1989, 1990. I live in Greece. I go to my friend across the street and he opens up his box. It's a Amiga 500. He plugs it in. He starts showing me how to play games. He loads some software. There's some letters with colorful things. I go, what is this? It's called BBS. What do we go to this thing and you read.
Louder. We know you're
Can
good
I-
louder. We know you're good for it.
And I borrow your computer because no way, but I can show you. I go back home and go, okay, I want an Amiga. I don't care what you guys have to do. How much is the Amiga? Give them the math. That's her salary combined for 5 months. Are you out of your mind? That's impossible. Go, I gotta make it happen. Okay, go in the summer and work at the bakery shop. Who's going to hire a 10-year-old child to work at the bakery shop? That's illegal. Don't worry about it. You say yes, we'll hook you up. It's okay, but whatever I make, it's in my pocket. So I raise the money. The guy was selling it across the street. I buy the Amiga. I plug it in, and the whole party started. I started doing the loot paint, software, games, and then expanding my imagination on creative stuff. I started having interest in music and film and games. Little I knew that jump decades later that would bring me to the US. I would build a whole career around technology. I was in the film industry because of the imagination, and then in 2012 I moved from Brooklyn to the Bay Area, and a guy that is in the community, he was like, hey, you want to go to this place called Amiwest? It's an Amiga gathering thing, event. I go, sure. So I go there and I make a team, and build, and start talking about it. And I was enthusiastic that the whole team has Amiga lead, right? And start talking about all the stuff that they do. And I go, I had no idea. But from that point on, we developed this friendship. And he gives me a call, what was it? 2015. It was around the time I was scheduling an overseas wedding. It was crazy. He goes, yeah, you want to do the Amiga 30th? Sure, what are we doing? Anything you want. Okay, I want to do the t-shirts, the passes. This one goes, okay, take it. Go, what? No question? Yeah, take it. Just do whatever you want. Go, wow, what a freedom, right? So I contributed to the Amiga 30th. They gave me the freedom. And then I met amazing people. Some of them are friends that I know live here with us, but I remember hanging out, setting up everything. And coming today, after the 40th, sharing the room with RJ, Dale, Carl, everybody here. If you went back in time and you told me to that kid that this is going to happen, I would say, no freaking way. But I'm very grateful that I live this moment with all of you. Thank you. Who's next? I'll do it.
Sitting on the stage, too.
Right, an Australian guy.
Perhaps a little bit of a different.
Woo, you made it.
And you
stole my thunder. Okay. So it's a little bit of a meta thing. And it starts with Dale's face when he first see the
World Series. Let's find it up.
Bad timing, Chris. Go through it.
Right. So this is I have a question. Let me start with a question. How many Amigas were sold?
Total?
Yeah.
They both know for sure.
12
Let's say 12 days. How many kids on average probably per machine touch that machine? In a house? 2? Yeah. I've said this to Dale and RJ and others, but I've become an Amiga grippy, and I've stood next to RJ, Dale, and others, and I've seen this again and again and again. And it's a slightly different formula, but it's kind of the same idea. Someone will come up to Dale and say, "I'm so pleased to meet you. I had an Amiga as a kid, and that's why I'm an engineer, why I'm a doctor, why I'm an artist, why I'm an engineer, is because you built something brilliant that carried me forward." And so I could have talked about when I first had an Amiga. I just generally say you had an incredible influence on tens of millions of people and their careers, and so thank you. And this is why we're here, because this is a beloved device that has changed people's lives. Thank you.
Anyone? Or are we gonna wait for this to end? Okay, please, and just announce who you are. Since there's a lot of foreigners, I'm going to be next. Yes. So I'm Sebastian. This is my second Amiwest. The first time I came here was in 2022. So at the time I was living in Marin County in Tiburon, and I drove here, and I celebrated my 45th birthday on October 22nd. I remember telling the story to RJ, who almost actually shed a tear. So this is my second Amiwest. This time, instead of driving, I flew in. I since relocated to Las Vegas. Tomorrow, thank you very much. Nevada's great. Home means Nevada. So I've been speaking for like a minute now. Where am I from originally?
France.
Too easy. Okay.
Toulouse.
No.
Switzerland.
Not far from Switzerland.
Wait, Montreal. Switzerland.
So I grew up in the French Alps. Is anybody into cycling and the Tour de France? Hands up? No? You know Alpe d'Huez? So I grew up at the bottom of Alpe d'Huez in a small town called Bourdoisan. And my parents are very hardworking. I'm an only child. They have a restaurant. So I'm an only child of parents who run a restaurant. They work 7 days a week, pretty much the entire year. And I'm already a bit of a nerd. It's kind of 1990, and I go to my dad and I say, "Dad, you know I love Michael Jackson, right?" And I've played that arcade game called Moonwalker. Yeah. And I actually know that we can run Moonwalker on the Sega Mega Drive. Here you call it the Genesis. Okay? So Sega Genesis. I'm with my dad in the nearby city because we had to drive to go to Civilization. We go to a store. We enter because I see the Mega Drive at the front. So we go in the store and my dad started to chat with the shop owner. He said, "Yeah, do you sell any Sega Mega Drive Genesis? My son would like to play with this." The shop owner, bless his soul, he's there. "Actually, I want to buy your son a console. I've got this thing here. It's an all-in-one computer with the keyboard. It comes with like a bundle of games. It's called the Amiga 500. I think you should buy this for your son. It's going to open more doors than him getting a console." So my dad, who not very educated but always very forward-thinking, a bit like a futurist, thinking, "Yeah, I'm going to get that for him because I like to create opportunities for my son." And
I remember we didn't live with that the same day, but I think 3 days later we come back. So we had a purchase order. We come back. We live with the box. I'd never touched an Amiga before. We go back home. Took us a bit of time to set it up together, and I put the first floppy in. Nothing happened. It took me a while, so I had to start opening the manual. And I remember clearly, actually, most of the there was a LucasArts bundle of games, and I was trying to play Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. I would just not play, so I started grabbing the manual, I read, and so finally, after maybe a couple of hours, that thing started. And it was just magical. And I remember that summer, I probably didn't go out at all, and some of my friends would live nearby. We spent the entire summer, maybe 3 months, just playing Indiana Jones. Only the following summer did we finish it, because back in the days we would buy these magazines in the French bookstores, and then there was finally a little tip that explained how you actually go through the Zeppelin and you can go to the next stage. So at the time, so 1990, I'm 13, I think I started learning English at age 11, but like most French kids, my level of English is non-existent. I cannot say a word. So for the first 2 years of learning English at school, we couldn't put a sentence together. Then I got my Amiga, and I remember going to a bookstore. I bought like a very thick French to English, English to French dictionary. And the first 6 months of having the Amiga, I had all these floppies that we exchanged between kids at school, and most of that is called piracy, I think. Where I come from, we call that freedom. And so I had that thick dictionary, and here I am, I have the mouse in one hand, and I've got the dictionary, think, what the fuck is that word? And within 6 months, all of a sudden, I turn up to English classes, and it's like the teacher's there thinking, what is going on? I don't know. And then all of a sudden, I'm starting to kind of become more fluent than the average kid at school in English. And this really opened doors. So because I grew up in a very touristy part of the world, there were people visiting from all around the world, I kind of got the travel bug, and I wanted to go and really become fluent in English. So fast forward a few years later, so I got my trusty Amiga 500, but at some point I kind of became a bit unfaithful. We got a PC. I'm sorry. It happened. I tell you what, so I got my Amiga 500 because we went to a store. I wanted a Sega Mega Drive. I left with an A500. And I think it was around 94. I'm telling my dad, I said, Dad, I'd like to have one of these samplers. You know, like put that in the parallel port. You can digitize your samples in 8-bit. We go to a store. What did we live with? A purchase order for PC, unfortunately. So that opened more doors, but unrelated to what we are discussing. So later, a few years later, I'm trying to actually come, and at the time I was working for Hewlett-Packard in France, and I was trying to transfer to Colorado. 9/11 happened. So there was no way for me as a young man starting my career in Europe to come to the US, and we had connections in Scotland, and I ended up driving my big motorcycle all the way through France and England. I arrived in Scotland, and hold and behold, I ended up being there for 7 years. And what did I discover? It's that outside of France and Germany, the UK were as well a very big community of Amiga users. Fast forward a few years later, I ended up migrating in Australia. I lived there 7 years in Sydney. Actually an Australian citizen, you can probably tell from the Australian twang. I gave that away. And what did I discover? It's that Australia and Down Under were, once again, huge users of the Amiga, like big communities, the C64 and all the Amigas, which still baffles me to this day because it almost feels like nobody knows the Amiga in America. But most of the nerds my age group I will talk to in Europe and Australia, they know the Amiga. So this allowed me to travel the world, speak English. I've worked for very large household names like Apple, AWS. I work today for the evil empire. I'm not very proud of it, I apologize. I've only started 8 months ago. You need to pay the bills, right? And it's my second Amiwest. I'm just very, very pleased and touched to be around you today. I got a fabulous picture with some of the creators of the Amiga in front of the Loren. It's like, I'm going to print it and I'm going to frame it and it's going to be in my office. So thanks for having me again for the second time, and I just love you all, and thanks to the creators of the Amiga, thanks for how you touched our lives and you opened these doors to kids who come from the boondocks, and here I am today. Thank you.
Happy late birthday!
Who's next? Who's going to get up on stage? Or not. You can't just stand. Stage straight. Trevor. Do you need slides, Trevor?
Yeah.
Must have that.
Will there be twerking?
Wait, I'm in California, Germany. Pictures there.
I never got mine. Never mind.
We'll fix that. We'll fix that.
Two things, really. I think most of the people know my story of how I got involved with the Amiga. I actually was a Commodore 128D owner living in Texas. Hooked up to the internet. But I was hooked up to the internet probably 1982, before most of you were born. Anyway, yeah, so I'm in Houston, Texas, massive thunderstorm, lightning hits the house, comes to the phone line, destroys my wonderful C128. So I had home insurance, and on the insurance policy it said acts of God. And the act of God was the money I got at my first Amiga in 2000. But that 2000 was ugly, it really was, but it was fantastic, so expandable. So years later, I'd moved to the UK. I'm in a temporary house before we're building a new house. I had two daughters, aged probably 11 and 9, and I'd given them my Amiga 2000. So they were using it for schoolwork, whatever. And by this time I had a 3000, or I just got 4000. And I saw this thing called a miracle keyboard. That'd be good. I'll teach myself to play the piano. Me, right? I can't play the spoons, let alone the piano. So I got the miracle keyboard, and I learned to play row your boat. Pretty good. Then I learned to play God Save the Queen. Sorry. And then my 9-year-old daughter picked it up. Bloody hell, she's musical. And then my older daughter did the same. They ended up going to music university years later, both of them. And we didn't realize it was the miracle keyboard and the Amiga. So it changed their lives. So there, that's my story.
We love you, Trevor!
Who's next?
I'll give it a shot.
Okay.
So very few of you know me. My brother Dan does. The story is introduced to the Amiga.
Hey, what's your name?
My name is Craig Ponder
Thank
from
you.
Salt Lake City.
We love you, Craig!
Yeah, man.
I graduated from BYU in 1984 in computer science. I took a job with a Japanese company. I was over there for a bit, came back working for their country here, or their. And while I was doing that, I was doing some contracting work with another company. We had computers that had basically the DOS screens. I remember a couple of the guys playing Rogue, just the characters. And one of the other guys brought in this new fancy schmancy computer. It had colors, had pretty pictures. What is that? And this is stupid, but the thing I remembered was he was explaining to me that transparent was a color. Yeah, that was a mind-blowing experience. So I eventually got laid off from that place. I was looking for work, and my friend was working for a small startup company, small game startup company. They needed they just got a contract with Access Software. Access had made leaderboard golf for the C64. They wanted a Amiga version. So they contracted with Sculptured Software, but they didn't have anybody that could write C. I was looking for work, and my friend hooked me up there. So my first experience with that was I got me one of those cool fancy computers that this other guy had shown me, and learned to compile on it. I remember going back and forth between the Manx and the Aztec compilers. And I was pretty happy because it was a much prettier computer than anything that other people were using. My brother Dan kind of got into it, and a few years later, he had been married yet, I was divorced. He said, "You want to go to the Amiwest Show in California?" So we did, and that was 1988. And here a couple months ago, Dan still has his Amigas. I have one in a box in my rafters. Dan said, "Hey, they're having a 40th anniversary thing for the Amiga. You want to go?" Oh, yeah, that sounds like you know what? That actually sounds kind of fun. So this week we piled in the car and we drove here. Dan was happy because he has his a sticker from the
Amy Expo pin, and I thought it was going to one up him and say, "Hey, look what I have from our trip."
From the 1988 trip. And I thought, no, I'm not sure. And so I dug in my wallet to see if I still had my Amy Expo ticket from 1988. I know. Actually, I was a little embarrassed.
Once you have the bug.
They don't make things like that no more.
Well, it's just like buried in the bottom of my wallet. I haven't thought about it for decades. But anyway, we thought we would have a fun trip here. It has been fun. I appreciate seeing you guys. This has been great. I love computers. I have fondness for the Amiga. This is brought me on a good trip. So thank you.
I'm going to tell you All right, you guys hear me? I'm not going to jump up here, but I'm going to talk loud. So I'm going to tell you the rest of the story. So my brother here had this really cool computer, and at that time, a PC, I think, had a CGA card with 4 colors. And when I saw that, I went, wow, I want one of those. And this is about the time in the transition between Commodore was taking things over, and I heard about the 2000 coming out. So I waited a bit to get that, because that sounded like it might be twice as good as the 1000, I don't know. So anyway, it came out, and I got this 2000, and I was in my apartment setting it up. I was a young 20-something, and at that time, Greg was dating his future wife, and his future wife had a girlfriend, and they wanted to have a party, and his future wife was thinking about introducing her girlfriend to me. So I was invited to this party, but I didn't really want to go because I had this cool new computer. That was my girlfriend, right? Amiga doesn't mean girlfriend in Spanish. Anyway, I have this Amiga, and I'm setting it up, and I'm
Priorities, Dan.
exactly, and I'm running like F-18 Hornet or something, and something running. I didn't understand something about Fastman, and I couldn't get a hold of him because he was at this party. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to drive over to this party and ask him the question I need to know how this memory works. So when I get there, and he gives me the answer, and I go, okay, I think I can make that work. As I'm leaving, his girlfriend says, hey, I'd like you to meet my friend. I was like, nice. And I left. So that was a missed opportunity. Well, you know, a year later, a year or two later, they end up getting married, and her bridesmaid is this same girl, and I'm Craig's best man, and so we meet at the wedding, and I'm like, hi, how are you? And she's like, oh, we've met before. I don't remember you. Oh, I remember you. Anyway, long story short, she's been my wife for the last, 36 years. So it did work out, but it got delayed by a couple of years. So that's the Amiga getting between me and my wife, and even tonight, it's still happening.
No mods. We've got a lot of people.
Okay, so the Amiga sickness is widespread. I was in school, in college, getting out in '86. I'm graduating. I'm like, okay, I'm going to buy a computer. And I'm looking at Byte magazine, this thick Byte magazine. And first there was the Sinclair QL. It's pretty cool. That's got to be something. Okay, come on, it's all this stuff built in. 68,000 channels, 6808. Oh, then the Atari ST comes out. I'm like, oh, that one's even better. It's got color. Well, then maybe that's something. Another month or two goes by. Huh?
The QL had color.
4 months, all the same color. Another few months go by, and there it is on the cover. The Amiga 1000. What the hell is this? Oh my God. And I'm reading it. I'm like, this is it. This is what I get. Okay, I graduate. I get out. I'm working. For a few months over summer, I finally get the money together. I buy a machine. Actually, I bought a used 1000 and traded in for the 2000 on the trade back deal they have. I get the 2000, and I get that, and it was fantastic. I mean, RJ, Dale, Carl, all of you guys that worked on this did such a job. It was such a magnificent piece of hardware and software that to this very day, how much perfection there was in it and how much capacity to exist and continue to exist and what it is still today is something else. But that drew all of us with this sickness, so much so that I've known Bill since he was in high school. I have known, my sister was using a 500 and she was working in a temp firm and they asked, do you know Windows? And she had, yeah. Her Amiga had Windows. I've been using Windows for years. They decided she's a computer expert. She's been in the IT world or project management world because they thought she was technically literate because she used an Amiga. Her husband was a good friend of mine, and so my brother-in-law is another Amiga friend. I mean, I count Amiga people some of my closest friends in the world, and it's just all of us share this sickness for this machine. It's astonishing how much it infects our lives, and how much different it is from using a sorry-ass PC or any of those things. They just aren't there. You guys really did it. It's just a fantastic job, guys. What you guys were saying about getting the excellence, and you can't leave it alone until it's there. Excellent job. Wonderful. Thank you.
Got another hour.
Okay, shit up! Happy birthday!
This is an Amiga story that I'm sure some of you have heard before, but it sums up how my brief array in the world of Amiga between 91 and 95 really impacted. So David Pleasance and I were running Commodore UK, and I was sitting in the office in Maidenhead one Friday afternoon. It was a bank holiday weekend, which meant everybody had Monday off. We'd be back to work on Tuesday, getting ready to go home. And Terry, my head of technical support, calls through and says, I have a call you need to take. I says, Terry, it's bank holiday weekend. You can handle it. I'm going home. No, you have to take this call. I was saying, okay, I said, put them through. And this lady comes on the line and says, hello, are you in charge? I said, yeah, I guess I am. Good. can you make decisions? Well, I like to think I can make decisions. That's okay. I said, good. Have you heard of Make-A-Wish Foundation? I said, yes. I've heard of Make-A-Wish. So we have a kid in Hammersmith Hospital, and his wish is to get an Amiga 12,000 pack. Can you do that? I said, well, yes, I can. Looked at my watch, late Friday. We can get it there Tuesday morning. Big call. We don't think he's going to make it Tuesday morning. That is a heart-stopping moment. So I said, let me see what I can do. We'll get back. So I go down to Texas 14. It's Friday night, holiday, the traffic is awful. I know it's 2.5 hours into Hammersmith and 2.5 hours back. So I asked, would somebody volunteer to take a computer to a sick kid in Hammersmith Hospital? Everybody in the department put their hand up. So we delivered the computer on Friday night. 2 weeks later, I got a letter from his mother. He made it to Thursday. Every hour he could, he played the Amiga. And she said, thank you for making the last days of his life so wonderful. And that is the power of the Amiga. David Plaster said it best, I think. He said, we don't sell computers, we sell dreams. And the Amiga gave dreams to millions of people.
What? You're supposed to do this color. Let it go. Who's next?
Oh wait,
Look, baseball game. Really?
people have to go.
Okay, Gino.
This doesn't work, huh? Alright, my name is Gino Calistini, and
Ambassador!
huh? What'd you say? Quiet, so I'm gonna sidetrack you now, so I'm get up here, I'm so nervous. So for me, Amiga started when I was a young man. I was probably like 12. My mom was a single mom. She got me a Commodore 64, but later that Christmas morning, she realized she made the mistake and got me the wrong machine. But I didn't say anything. I still act like it was the coolest thing in the whole world. So, I don't know, probably a month or so later, I come home from school, and there she was. The Amiga 500, brand new in the box. I was super stoked. My mom was able to do it. Still don't know to this day how she was able to pull it off to afford the Amiga for me. So I stayed with that rig for a really long time, all the way until I was about 15. I started kind of getting in trouble. So my parents sent me to a Native American boarding school in Oklahoma. So I lived there. We were allowed to bring one electron, a boom box, small television. So I brought my Amiga 500 with me.
No monitor, though, right?
I did have a small television there, so I hooked up to the television, so I ran on. So yeah, no monitor, unfortunately. So to me, that was my escape. No matter how bad it got, I always had my Amiga to turn to. I was able to, no matter what it was, I could always turn to the Amiga. And the Amiga was there for me. You know, I was always able to express my dreams through those keys. You know. So to fast forward to now, I guess get past all that part anyway. The reason I do what I do now, and I love, and I have to, like he says, I drank so much Kool-Aid, is as a kid I always had a dream to be like a programmer, or to be a developer, or to come up with my own ideas and to share them with other people, right? And now that I'm an old man, grayed out with my wife and all my children, I'm able to do that. So I'm able to look back at my old little young self and say, yeah, look what we're doing now, you know? I was afforded opportunity by these two gentlemen right here, Trev and Maddie, to make my dreams come true as an adult. And you know, no matter how old you get, never forget the passion that Amiga has brought to you. Never, ever let it die. You know, we hear our legends speak. You know, RJ Michael, Mr. Luck, everyone that speaks to us with their heart, you know, to be able to meet you'd say it was a freaking honor. Like, it's just amazing to be able to hear all the amazing stories that bring us all together, right? And it's a never-ending thing. So I hate when guys say, "Oh, the Amiga's it's never gonna die." I don't care what you think. The Amiga's never gonna go nowhere. We're never gonna let it die, because every single one of us in this room is an Amiga ambassador. Every single one of us. And that's what we do. We carry the light continually, you know. And unfortunately, a lot of these guys are, you know, they're getting older. It's time catching up, right? So it's our job, as I'm the younger generation in this, to continue this legacy and to continue their stories and don't let their stories die. And that's why I make videos. That's why I get up every single day and I focus on us. Because we, almost said the F word, we deserve it. We deserve to never let those legacies die. And we never, ever should ever not think that our Amiga is going to die, because it's not. Because even if it's Amiga 1, which is the greatest computer on planet Earth, out there says, or if you play with a FPGA box, or any way you can get your Amiga fixed, get it, because that keeps that legacy alive. You know, I hate when I see guys say, "Oh, that's not the way to do it," or "let's do it this way." Well, that's what Amiga is. It's options. You know, we have the options and the freedom to do it any way we want. So scratch those itches any way you can scratch those itches. So I don't know, I just appreciate it, man. You guys, since I started doing this, you know, I finally found my place, and that's with you guys. You guys make me feel comfortable. I don't feel weird. Like, even my weirdness, it's okay to be weird. Yeah. You guys are I said weird 40. The coolest thing ever happened. I'm gonna get to the fun part. So Trevor comes up and says, "All right, kid, I'm taking you to RJ's party." Man, that just blew me away. Here I am, walk up this guy's door. And I'm with him. You know, he's not from America. In America, we have to knock on doors when we go in the front door, because you might get shot. This is America. So we're going up to RJ's door, and he's opening the door, and you can hear my video. I'm like, "Oh man, can we do this?" And I don't know they know each other as well as they do and stuff. I'm new to all of it, right? So we go in the front door, and oh my God, I'm in RJ's mansion. I can't freaking believe it, you know. And it was just open arms. I met so many amazing people on this journey and stuff. I appreciate every single one of you guys pushing me, especially my club at sacc.org. Every single one of you guys created this monster. And, you know, always pushing me and telling me to keep going and say I'm doing the right things. And just thank you to everybody for making my dreams come true. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Like a freaking pig.
Okay. Okay? Yeah. Let's do it. Please. One of the new faces.
I'm one of the new faces.
All right.
Hey, you know, we're good company here. We're all in our weird and our ways, and that's a good thing. My name's Ryan Stapleton. I came from Washington, D.C. on the other coast. It seemed like a good idea at the time. Still is an amazing idea at the time. So I grew up with the Commodore line, and finally with the Amiga. I was one of those sick kids when I was young, and it got me through a lot. Your story means a lot to me, what you did. I spent so many holidays in a hospital. On Commodore 64 helped me there. My parents got me an Amiga. I'm sorry, but...
No, let it out, bro. It's our family right here. Let it out.
It's done a lot for me, and that's why I really like the OS3, the 68K Amigas. That's what I was there. It got me through a lot, and I've come back. But I've always wanted to do development, so I've started doing that. There's a tool jam that's going on right now, and I got submitted an entry to it because I always wanted to do one when I was younger. so I'm doing it now for the 40th. Great. Go check out the Tool Jam if you haven't done that. There's a lot of really neat things in there. Go do that. But I am very happy that everybody's been amazing that I've interacted with. Everybody's been super friendly. This vastly exceeded any of my expectations. I had no idea what to expect here. When I decided to go, hey, let's look at an airplane, and my buddy came with me with moral support. Let's go 2,500 miles. I've always wanted to go to an Amiga show when I was little. We lived in the middle of nowhere, Western PA. That just wasn't a thing. And now this is my first Amiga show. God knows how many years later, and I'm here. And weirdly, I went 2,500 miles to meet someone who lives 3 miles from my place. I don't understand how that works out. That's just so random.
2 seats over.
Yeah, like, how did that happen? So it's been really cool, and I really thank you for being so welcoming. And I'm looking forward to more tomorrow, chatting with as many people as I can. It's been a great, great adventure, and I'm glad I've come to do that. Thank you.
Who's next? One more, 2 more. We are running out of time, actually. 9:13, so we got to be out at 10. Great, thank you.
Hey, that's a beautiful shirt you got on.
I agree.
Is that Gino's goal there? Just one of them?
I'm not like speaker. I'll do my best. My name is Robert. I'm a local guy here. First time I heard about the Amiga was probably 1995. My dad worked for the government, and they had one in his office. I don't know if he was before this, so we'll talk about it. And he always talked about getting one. And we never got one. And I think I got my first one. Started with the 64. Got my first 1000 in high school in 1990. I bought it from a BBS guy that ran a BBS in Rio Linda. Had the 1000 for a while. It's an amazing machine. Played so many games on it. Found the limitations on memory for some of the games, so talked my mom into getting a 500. Bought a 500. Had that for all through high school. And a teacher even told me, "Oh, that's not a real computer. It's a toy." That was my basic programming class. We had IBM PS2 pieces of programming. And so probably after high school, got rid of the Amiga. Big mistake. And decided probably about 2015, 2016. Probably about that time, I started playing with emulation. I was like, this isn't quite the same. I kind of want a real machine, so I bought a 500 on eBay for $130. And bought a ACA 500 Plus, played a lot of games. It was pretty cool. Then I wanted more, so then I bought, I met the guys at the club, kind of got addicted to it, it's an addiction. And I bought a 2000 for Brian up back there. And bought the hell out of that. And I don't know, maybe some midlife crisis. Most guys buy a Corvette and get a new girlfriend, but I bought an Amiga. What's up? Well, that was, so, here I am today, probably almost 10 years later, still tinkering, still buying stuff, and having a great time. And this is probably my 8th or 9th at Amiwest. I don't know. I'm going to run this with 2016, 17, something like that. It's just a great time, bunch of great people, and yeah, that's kind of my brief story.
Who's next? Jerry.
Jerry.
We'll see if I can get on the stage with that. Take a step. Well, hi everyone. My story starts out a little bit like Alex's. To date myself a little bit here, back in high school, had my Commodore 64. Loved that machine. All my friends had Commodore 64s. We
do all the get together and spend all weekend playing games, what have you. And it was around '89, I'm getting ready to go into college, and some of my friends had the Amiga. I'm like, I think I need to go to an Amiga. And my dad sits me down and he goes, you're going to college now, son. You need to get a serious machine. So I ended up getting a 286. Okay, boo. 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 Yeah, yeah.
This is not an Atari.
So I had my PC compatible. I still have friends with Amigas. I go play those with those from time to time. Computer science, I kind of stay on that PC. So fast forward to about 2017. It's summertime, primetime TV shows have ended. I'm sitting there bored. I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm like, you know what? I never got that Amiga. So I'm going to rewind to my childhood, and I'm going to redo it. I'm going to get me an Amiga. So I went on to eBay, and I shopped around, and I saw this 2000 for sale. And I looked at it, it's like Citrus Heights. So for those of you who know Sacramento, you're like, that's just right here in Sacramento area. So I thought, this is perfect. So I messaged the guy and said, hey, I'm going to bid on this 2000. I said, if I win this, can I just come pick it up? So I have to do the shipping on this big monster? And he says, sure. So I bid it and bid it and bid it. I thought it would be like a $50, $100 thing. I had no idea what the capabilities were of this particular Amiga. It had expansion cards on the wazoo. It ended up selling for like $380. Well worth it, but I didn't know that, so I'm like, I'm not going to spend $380 on an Amiga. A couple days later, I get a message, and the guy said, hey, do you still want an Amiga? I said, sure. He said, great. So the guy says, why don't you come to the club? Club. This I have to see. So we corresponded a little bit. He hooked me up with the next meeting date and so forth, and I come into the Holiday Inn Express for my very first Amiga Club meeting, and I meet Brian, and I meet Michael Salcedo, and Bill Clay, and Kenny. I meet all these great guys, and we're talking about it, and they say, oh, dude, yeah, we'll get you an Amiga. And by the time I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to get an Amiga, I'm going to play with it for a few months, I'm going to throw it in the closet, I'm never going to see these guys again. But obviously that didn't happen. As I got more into the Amiga, and looking at it through the lens of history, looking at it as a little more educated person, I came to respect the technology, the operating system, and the hardware that was in there far more than I could ever understood and respected it back when I was a kid. And that just kind of captured my interest. And then, like I said, I met these great people, the people like Bill, that's doing this stream forever, and the contribution you continue to make to the community through your future projects. And I just think it's completely amazing. In my office, during one of the donations that we got a while back, it was Amiga sales rep, and he had just the top of 1,000 signatures in it. So I kept that for myself. I keep it up on my office wall. And when the kids come in, they're like, "What's that?" I'm like, "Well, that's the top of an old computer." They're like, "Well, what do you got? What's that?" So I pull it down and I said, "They have all these signatures in it." I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." I said, "When you do your work, I want you to be proud enough to put your name on it permanently." Thank you. So, even though I'm a late comer to the community, I've got a lot out of it. I enjoy coming together and meeting with everyone, having a good time, having a good weekend, having a good meeting. And that's kind of what spurred the whole community theme for this Amiwest. Rather than doing yet another Amiga 40, we've done Germany, we've done the Bay Area, I really wanted to boil it down to community because it's all of us that keep this crazy train running. Thank you.
Please, absolutely. What was your first experience with the Amiga?
I have the opposite story to tell from everyone because I never bought an Amiga. I've actually given one. I only played with for a month or so, and it actually influenced me to show some cat or something like that, I guess. But the thing I'm most proud of is that there's this community. You're all here, and you're having fun and enjoying the Amiga computer.
Hell yeah.
I'm trying to think of like toasters, microwaves, oven ranges. Like, is there a Kenmore? Like, like, do they get together like once a year? Like the Kenmore 5100 range people have a big one.
Only the gas ones.
The gas ones. Yeah. Well, there's airplanes. That's true. There's cars. Cars, yes. Cars are similar. Cars have a lot of take on a lot of human trait, or how should I say this? Cars have a lot of the soul of their creator imbued inside them, in a similar way. It's an interesting thing. Transference. What was it, Christine or something? The Amiga one wouldn't be nearly as exciting. You're like, oh, it's looking at me really scary right now. You can't go anywhere.
Pull the plug.
Yeah.
Okay,
You put the flop in, it's like chomp, chomp, chomp. Anyone else? You got a story you want to share? We got a lot of people who haven't spoken yet. And I know some people have some good stories about how they found themselves doing this. You can insert this part for yourself. Okay. Well, that is fine. You do not have to get up and talk. Totally fine. So I just wanted to say, appreciate those who did share their stories. Colin, thank you. That was, it's incredible. The things and the way you talk about people working there. And I think that goes to the passion that they had. And was that because of them, or did they inherit it, or did they create it? It's all of the above. How
Well, the thing that I experienced working with the Amiga, everybody knew how special that technology was and how different it was. And the inventors, big shout out to you guys. We knew it was amazing.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, well, I think we're going to wrap. Jerry, is there anything that you need to share before we go? Tips or situations? The Dodgers won. Right?
Yes. All right. Well, Ryan and I are gonna close out the tab, so we'll take care of that. For everyone else, we can head back to the hotel. We can reopen the room if we want to go grab some round tables and continue the celebration. And if you don't want to go back to the floor, feel free to turn in tonight.
Then what time we start the
Tomorrow
start the morning?
Tomorrow starts at 10, and remember tonight is the fallback.
Yeah.
So we'll reset our clocks, and it'll be 10 a.m. by the corrected time in the morning. For lack of a better term.
Thanks, Mr. Franklin. Oh yeah, so we do have a number of things on the show floor from the 40th. One of them is posters. Thank you, Chris. Over by the future wall is a stack of posters from the Amiga 40th. You are welcome to pick one politely.
There's the 30th and the 40th.
Both are there, thank you. So there's also ones from the 30th show. I've got a couple of the manuals from the 30th, the booklet we printed. What do you call it? Show guide, whatever. The show guide. I got a couple of those that I snagged and brought with. That is interesting. I got a bunch of stickers from the 30th too. If you want any of those, just come see me tomorrow. Happy to give them up. That was a great job. The booklet was put together by Paul. Thank you, Paul. So yeah, I mean, I think that's. Well, we'll head back to the room. I'm gonna get this damn future wall working, and I'm not going to bed until I do.
Bill.
Make it work.
Bill, the box on the stage.
We're here until I think 10. So we have like another half hour, or head back, or.
Yep, we're out at 10.
Should I tell them how I met you? You remember?
Technique.
Bill,
I don't remember.
the box on the stage.
What's that?
What? What about the box on the stage there?
Oh yeah, the shirts.
Okay.
For the people who spoke. I wrote down a list of everyone who spoke. If you want to grab a shirt from the 40th who spoke, come on down.